world leaders in Davos, it is also a matter of global security. Lindy Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
A massive snow and ice storm is about to move in from the southwest all the way up to New England.
Winter storm watches are posted from New Mexico east to Tennessee and Alabama. A massive snow and ice storm is expected to develop this weekend across the south and southeast. Hannah Ferris manages a grocery store in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I mean, I've already seen people panic buy already, like water and firewood in particular.
Weather forecasters say up to 2 feet of snow could fall across the southern Appalachian Mountains. Widespread travel and power disruptions are expected. Jim Crisula, CBS News, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Timothy Busfield is back home a day after a judge in New Mexico denied the prosecutor's request to detain the actor and director over accusations of inappropriately touching 2 young boys on the set of a TV show he was directing. CBS's Carter Evans.
Now, the judge released Busfield on his own recognizance. He's not allowed to contact the alleged victims or potential witnesses. And whether or not he's convicted, Busfield's lawyer says he's effectively been canceled and his career is over. A trial date has not yet been scheduled.
Busfield denies all the allegations. Taylor Swift just made history at 36. She's become the youngest inductee into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. CBS's Anthony Mason.
Taylor Swift signed a publishing deal at 14. Since, she's had 69 songs in the top 10. 13, her lucky number, reached number 1.
This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code EVENT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EVENT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EVENT. Code EVENT. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored. Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into this Wednesday morning on the Roundtable. Chip Walters with you from Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates, and the Blue Raider Network. Our producer, Brian Barrett, who has had, there's been white smoke coming out of the WGNS roof, waiting for what this weather is going to do. And, Brian, you have had your finger on this, and nobody really knows. Everybody knows something's going to happen, and with this winter weather. But are we to the point now where we can? Is there any guess on timing or anything like that?
I'm sure anybody can guess.
Yeah, that's
right. To tell you the truth, it could be a wintry mess.
Yeah.
It's amazing just what happens about a mile above your head and how it can make the difference between, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and those profiles are going to be ever changing And this is not your typical, like a low with a front kind of moving in.
No.
And so that complicates things as well. Things have shifted a little further north with the heaviest of the snow, so it's not spitting out like 20 inches on the models. But unfortunately, it does bring us into more of the sleet and freezing rain possibilities in there as well. So the best guess is you're going to get snow, and probably plenty of snow, several inches of snow. National Weather Service is saying about 6 inches of snow.
Yep, go to Holden Hardware, get your sleds.
Yeah,
so.
And you could be sledding with a nice little layer of ice.
Yeah. Well, we've had Davis Nolan on this show. We've had Bree Smith on this show, and they both said the hardest thing in the world in their weather business is predicting snow in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because of temperatures and how things move around. But
the difference between 32 and 32.1 is, could be the difference between snow, sleet, freezing rain.
Yeah, that's right. But RutherfordWX.com.
Yeah, Rutherford Weather. Search Ruco Weather on the social platforms. We'll have it covered, and we'll have some cameras out there and folks on the streets.
All right. Well, today on the Roundtable, we're joined by a man who has helped shape Tennessee's courts, mentored judges across the country, and left a lasting mark on families and communities right here at home. Judge Don Ash has served more than 3 decades on the bench, from circuit court to senior judge for the Tennessee Supreme Court, and helped pioneer reforms like the parenting plan legislation and Tennessee's first non-residential drug court. He's an educator, an author, a community builder, a storyteller, and Judge Don Ash, it is an honor to have you here, and I'm glad I ran into you at the basketball game the other day so I could say, hey, what are you doing on Wednesday morning? And here you are.
Yeah, great to be here. Love WGNS. Chip, I appreciate I guess almost 30 years you've been with MTSU on the radio. I've enjoyed listening to you. Yours kind of a stable with radio. I listen to a lot of games and really enjoy doing that. So I appreciate your contribution to our community. You do a fantastic job.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it very much. Now, I asked you when you walked upstairs, I said, have you retired now? But you have slowed down some in your career. But tell folks what you're doing now.
Well, it's a pretty interesting job. There's 6 of us in the state. In 2000, it happened to me in 2012. The Tennessee Supreme Court contacted me, asked me if I'd like to be a senior judge, and that doesn't mean just old. It means that you've got experience in both civil and criminal cases. And so now what I do part-time, about 120 to 150 days a year, I travel across the state and try lawsuits. It's when other judges recuse themselves, or they have a case that's too complicated that they've never dealt with before, or political type stuff. Because I really don't know. I really don't know anybody in the town.
Right.
I just kind of ride in town, make the ruling, and leave. So I don't know anybody. So there's no political pressure at all. So it's really been interesting these last 12 or 13 years. Rita doesn't want me hanging around the house, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then I've got I have an office here in town. I have a law clerk that works with me. She's great. So it's been it lets me keep on thinking, keep working a little bit. I love this profession, and so it's been a blessing to get to do that. I think I'm in the middle of probably my 3rd or 4th year term. It's a 4-year term, so I'm good for another 3 years. Then I'll have to make some decisions about what I want to do.
Yeah, and within your career, now you're, as you mentioned, a senior judge. You were a presiding judge over the Tennessee Court of the Judiciary, circuit court judge. You were a city judge, and of course, you started out just doing some country lawyering.
That's right.
Right here on the square. And Castle Heights grad. Did your brothers go to Castle Heights too?
My brother did go to Castle Heights.
Okay.
Castle Heights. When I first met Rita, I told her I went to. She goes, "Where did you go to high school?" I said, "I went to Castle Heights Military Academy." She goes, "Were you a problem child?" I go, "Why would you say that?" And evidently in Murfreesboro, if you misbehave, your family threatened to send you to military school over in Lebanon. But it was a great experience for me. I enjoyed the military aspect of it. I enjoyed the educational aspect of it. It was challenging. And so it was a great, really kind of laid, along with many other things, but laid a strong foundation really for the rest of my life about honor and integrity and hard work, sacrifice, all those things. You learn that in military school, or I did.
Yeah, well, growing up in Columbia, I went to the Catholic Church, and CMA was right down the street, and so and they had a lot of boarding school guys from
we did too,
and a lot from South America, and they were, most of those were Catholic, so they wanted to go to mass, and so we were only third of a mile maybe from the main gate, and Father Nobley was our priest at the time, and he was also the wrestling coach at CMA.
Wow.
And prior to that, he had been principal at Father Ryan at high school. But those cadets, they would march up West 7th Street in Columbia in their dress uniforms, and the first couple of pews on the front were for them. And Father Nobley would just dare them to screw up in church, you know. But that was a point of pride, and Lebanon has taken a great deal of pride in the history and all that has gone along with Castle Heights.
Yeah, my school closed in '86. But I've been a member of the Alumni Association ever since, and what we did was we ended up buying the old library. It was built in 1902, and we redid it, and so now it's like a museum to Heights. And so we meet regularly about that. We've got our old Tigers up there. We've got our old sign that used to be on the very front of the building that comes in there. My brother and I found that, and we redid it and put that up. And so it's, like I said, it's important to me, and I appreciate to see Lebanon taking an interest in it, because now they bought the library from us so they can maintain it. They bought the Mitchell House. If you remember, that's at the very beginning when you first come in. That was where the junior school was. And so they've been interested in preserving the history of Heights. But I was not a boarder. I lived at home. Both my mom and my stepdad both taught up at Heights. And so I didn't have to spend the night there. But my parents, especially my stepdad, made me follow the rules at Heights. Like, we had study hour at 7 to 9 every night. Had to go to your room. They'd come up and check on you, and then lights out at 10. I never got to see the end of Monday Night Football, but I remember
that myself. Having to go to bed early.
Yeah, but I remember that well. I mean, like I said, it was a great experience for me. I'm so happy I'm still involved in it. It's really been a blessing, blessed my life. It's like going to MTSU though. I've been a pretty lucky guy getting to go to Castle Heights and eventually graduating from MTSU. Two pretty special places in my life.
Now, when you were at Castle Heights, did you all realize how famous the Allman brothers were? And Dwayne Allman went to Castle Heights. Both of them went.
Both of them went. Yeah. One got kicked out. One quit. Those were about 2 or 3 years before I got there. There was an actor named Roger Davis who was on some television show about cowboys. He was kind of famous. He went there. But we've had several generals go there. We had a lot of people go to West Point from there. So it was, like I said, it was really a great learning experience for me. It was very difficult. It was not easy at all.
Yeah.
But it makes you also learn about education, about how to study. Because by the time I went to college,
that probably came easy then because of what you learned in high school.
Exactly. It made college so much easier because I knew how to study and I knew how to look at it, go to a class, listen to what the professor said. And if you pay attention, you can about figure out what's going to be on the test. I learned that at Heights. And so that makes a big difference, when you go to college.
Well, how did both of those parts of your educational career serve you as being a good listener in the courtroom?
Yeah, that's a great question. It did help. Well, two things. I majored in history and English at MTSU. So history is reading. I love reading. And then English, obviously, is writing. And so that gave good foundation. But making the transition from a lawyer, a talker, to a listener, to setting up there is challenging. It's still challenging to me today after being on the bench for 30 years because I'll be listening to stuff I'll think, why didn't that lawyer ask that question? Why did he not ask this? Why are they not doing that? And if, as a judge on non-jury trials, you can ask questions to people. And so I used to ask way too many questions. So now I'm learning to shut up. My friend Judge Royce Taylor, I'm sure you know Royce.
Yes.
he said our job was to sit there and listen. So I'm trying to do better, just trying to sit there and listen and smile like Judge Taylor did.
So I think, what did my dad tell me? Because you got 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That's right.
So you ought to spend more time listening. So now where did the law bug hit you? Was that spurred in high school, or was that once you got to college?
No, it was before. It was,
really?
When my dad passed away in a car accident when I was about 6, and my mom was just a homemaker. My brother Dirk was 4, and he didn't have insurance, so we had to move out of the house, move into I called it a shotgun duplex. We were on one side. And a shotgun duplex is if you shoot through the front door, you hit everybody because it goes straight out to the back. Yeah. On the other side of that door was a guy named Jack Lowry. And Jack Lowry is one of the prominent lawyers in Lebanon. Mm-hmm. And he was a policeman at that time, but he was going to law school. And I thought he was the coolest guy. And then there was another guy named Ernest Cotton. And Mr. Cotton's son, Billy, was the best athlete in school. And they owned their house. I never knew people owned their house. I thought everybody rented, but I found out they owned their house. And his wife was beautiful. And I thought to myself, probably about 3rd grade, if I can become a lawyer one day, I can own my own house. I'll have a beautiful wife, and my children will be great athletes. So I do own my own house. My wife is beautiful. Children were not great athletes. They were okay. But I knew it was something I wanted to do really about 3rd or 4th grade. I can remember in junior high when we would be on like spring break or something like that, and I didn't have anything to do. I'd go up to the courthouse and just sit in the back and just watch. And so that's been a great blessing in my life, Chip, to want to do something from that young age and then to get to do it.
Yeah.
Never really planned on being a judge, but I wanted to be a lawyer. And I got interested. There was a guy named John J. Hooker. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
So John J. ran for governor, and my mom liked John J. Hooker.
I think the cartoon character Foghorn Leghorn may have been after him. But John J. was what a great guy to listen to.
Oh, what a great speaker! But I can remember going with Mom and putting up John J. Hooker signs on telephone poles. Back then, you could do that when he was running for governor, and so I was always interested in politics, and I thought I wanted to be like governor or a senator or something like that.
Yeah,
but got different paths that happened to me, so turned out okay.
Well, the calling worked out well. Now, in your lawyer career before you got to be a judge, did you enjoy the research part, or did you like the courtroom part?
Courtroom part.
Yeah.
A gazillion times better.
Yeah. That's where the action is.
I didn't mind the research part. I just like, because I tend to be a lot like you. I watch you at basketball games, and I can tell from listening to you that you've spent hours looking at this stuff, trying to figure out all the names of these other players and what position they play and what they're doing and all that stuff. I mean, it's got to take a ton of preparation. Law is a lot like that, too. And I get comfort in being super prepared. And so as a lawyer, I tried to always be prepared, but I loved going to court. Winning's the best feeling in the world. Losing's a terrible feeling. But the preparation and going in there and doing the job is just, being a trial lawyer is the best, or one of the best things in my life.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of coaches I know. They feel like if they can be the best prepared, where by the time they get to the game, there's no surprises. And if you're the best prepared lawyer, chances are there's not going to be any surprises in the courtroom, and you've got all the answers to the questions already. And you never ask a question that you don't know the answer to, right?
Exactly. And then the good thing for me now, that's carried on to my judicial career. Mm-hmm. I try to be more prepared than the attorneys are about the case and know all the stuff of it and looked at all and done briefs on it. So that's pretty interesting to go in there and know everything. And it really speeds the process up, because a lot of times I go into court and I go, okay, folks, I've read all this. Here's the issues. I'm interested in this one issue, so can you address that? And then speeds things up pretty dramatically.
Absolutely. Well, Judge Don Ash is our guest today on the Roundtable. We're going to step aside, be back and talk a little bit more about his career as a judge, and in particular, one of the cases I wanted to bring up today and kind of get his thoughts here years after it had taken place. That's right here on WGNS.
This is a breaking news alert from News Radio WGNS.
We've got some news about an incident that has taken place over at Riverdale. You probably have seen a lot of local law enforcement in the area of Warrior Drive this morning. Situation being addressed at the school right now, according to James Evans with the school system. There was a possible threat against the school called in this morning. James says it appears to be a false call, but they've placed the school on a precautionary hold until the situation is investigated and resolved. Had a couple of phone calls about that and what's going on at Riverdale. You'll see a lot of police presence. It's still being investigated, so still in the early stages, but just wanted to let you know we're working on updates that we'll have at wgnsradio.com as well when they warrant.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Sign-ups are going on right now for First Shot's Winter Basketball League in Rutherford County. Coach Andy Herzer guides kids to sharpen basketball skills and build teamwork through exciting clinics and games. Since 2003, First Shot has empowered youth to grow in mind, spirit, and body. Don't miss out. Join the fun and develop lifelong skills. Visit firstshottn.org today and register for the Winter Basketball League. That's firstshottn.org.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris, the County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by America Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
Friends? Yes. The financial partners whom you've built a relationship with at Old National Bank are still at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard location, right here in the borough. And so are the warm, homemade cookies.
Cookies are ready, dear.
Like Grandma used to make. If you need online and mobile banking, Murfreesboro's Old National Bank does that too. You and Old National Bank, better together.
Old National Bank at 2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge is over at Sportscom on Saturday, January 31st. That's not this Saturday, but the one after it. It starts at 8 o'clock that Saturday morning with games, fun, food, and live music in the gym. Admission is free, but you're encouraged to bring non-perishable food for needy persons in the community. And then 10 o'clock Saturday morning, January 31st, everyone marches out of the gym and plunges into the icy waters of the Borough Beach at Sportscom. Don't miss the 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge. Not this Saturday, but the one after this one. Saturday, January 31st. Don't forget there's a grief support group every Wednesday morning at 10 at the St. Clair Senior Center. It's free, and that's Wednesday mornings at 10. The St. Clair Senior Center is at 325 St. Clair Street in Murfreesboro. The Red Cross is critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life. Phone the Red Cross and give the gift of life. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
A winter storm watch will go into effect here Friday night. We're looking at periods of rain showers here for this afternoon with cloudy skies and a high into the lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center. Currently, it's 45.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Switch your ceiling fans to run clockwise at a low speed. It pushes trapped warm air down to the floor where you need it. Find more tips at mte.com/myenergyplan.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Judge Don Ash joins us today on the Roundtable, and always interesting and always fun to talk to Don. And one case I wanted to bring up, we are coming up on the 15th anniversary. March 2nd will be 15 years since Tina Stewart was murdered, and you,
wow,
and you ended up presiding over that case. And I'm not sure, what you're allowed to talk about, but Shanterica Madden, who was convicted of her murder, is that the most high-profile case you ever presided over? Do you think? No,
no. I did the. If you remember Captain D's, that was a triple murder.
Oh my gosh, you had Paul.
No, it was two people. It was Palmer and Madden.
Okay,
that was Captain D's, and then
ironically another Madden.
Yeah, then I had the O'Charlie's murder that the manager got shot down here,
right here on Memorial Boulevard.
Yeah, had that one. Yeah, I spoke the other day to the Breakfast Rotary Club. It's funny in your career because when you start out, you really don't think about murder trials, especially in Murfreesboro. But I talked about the murder trials that I had done. And back then, that's when they had a bunch of cold cases. So we had like the Gilly case with Laura Salmon.
Right.
Pretty high profile.
Yeah, that was at the time.
Yeah, that was covered all the time. So, yeah, I think I did like almost 20 murder trials then. And as a senior judge now, I've done 4.
Yeah.
I did 2 death penalty cases here, and I've done a death penalty case recently in Oak Ridge. So those are all pretty high profile. But Tina Stewart's high profile too.
I mean, I just typed in my Google here to see when to try to remember when it was.
Yeah, I can't believe it was that.
It was March 2nd. It was the day after my birthday. I remember that. It was March 2nd, and it was 2011. I was trying to remember the year. But the thing about that one, I mean, it's compared to, let's say, the Captain D murder trial you had.
Right.
The Captain D's thing, they had to search and figure out who tried to do it and all that kind of stuff. The Tina Stewart thing was pretty cut and dried.
Well, it was interesting. They found her, if you remember, strange circumstances. They had this altercation. Either she killed. Their defense was it was self-defense. That was the defense that they had. But she stabs her. No question, she stabs her, and then turns the light off, closes the door, and then Tina Stewart's boyfriend called, and she had the phone or texted or something, and she had Tina Stewart's phone, and she texted him back pretending to be Tina that I'm in the shower. I'll call you when I get out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the boyfriend comes over to the house, and the girl, what did you tell me her name was?
Shanterica, yeah.
Yeah, Shanterica. What she had done was, it was spring break, or getting ready to be spring break.
Mm-hmm.
She was washing a load of clothes, getting ready to go home.
Back to Memphis.
To Memphis. And the girl's dying there in the bedroom, or dead in the bedroom.
That was the thing that was the weirdest part was of just how cold she was about this. And what was the other really ironic part, that they both went to the same high school in Memphis but did not know each other.
They did not.
And then got placed together as roommates in in an off-campus apartment community.
Yeah, and see, that's an interesting thing because I don't think they do that anymore. I
Yeah.
think they keep all the athletes together.
They try to, yeah.
Yeah, because what happened, the girl from Memphis would have her girlfriend come over and they'd smoke pot in the house.
Well, and that put Tina in jeopardy if she had to be drug tested.
And Tina thought Tina Stewart thought that by being at home, being in her apartment, and there was smoke in there, that she would get influenced, or not influenced, she would consume some of that, get drug tested, and not be able to play basketball.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the conviction on that. Was it first degree or second degree?
No, they asked for second degree. They asked for first degree murder. The jury came back with second degree murder because the question was, the issue was whether she said she got the knife from inside of Tina Stewart's room. The state tried to prove that she took the knife out of the dishwasher and stabbed her with it. If she takes the knife out of the dishwasher, then that's first degree murder because you have the intent.
Right.
If you're wrestling
and you just grab something
and stab them,
right,
then it's second degree. So they found second degree murder, but they also found her guilty of kidnapping or aggravated assault or something like that. So I sentenced her to that. I think she got 32. If I remember correctly, I ran them consecutive. So I think she got 32 years, 100%.
So she will not.
She's
like from 2012 plus 32 years.
Yeah,
so
well,
that'll be
usually 80% of the 32 years, which is 24 something, 26 something like that. So she could possibly get out by the time she's 50, 55, something like that.
Yeah, wow. But it's still a tragic.
Yeah, and I'd never realized, I didn't realize how prominent a basketball player Tina Stewart was, or what they anticipated that she would become, because evidently she was in line to become a star at MTSU.
Yeah, she'd been very good at high school at Memphis Central, and then was well on her way. And I remember they had the memorial service over at Murphy Center, and had both basketball teams, both the men and women, because she dated one of the.
That was the guy.
Yeah, she dated one of them, Casey Aluna.
That's who it was.
Yeah,
what a memory.
And but I remember Chris Massaro. He asked me, "Can you facilitate this?" And because they had several people who were going to speak, and he just said, he goes, "All I want's the best you've ever done." So and that worked out that way. But when they I remember they planted a tree in her honor over by the old weight room, and I noticed the other day that when the old weight room came down and the new Smith Center was just opened, was built, they have moved the tree and the monument that was for her. Now the Captain D's case, that has to be even sitting in the judge's chair pretty riveting, because they're it's like an onion. They're peeling it away, and all of a sudden trying to make the case. That had to be fun to listen to.
Well, the death penalty cases, that when you have seminars now and about it, and now I teach some death penalty cases for how to handle them with the National Judicial College. They say it there, the death is different, and it is different. It's a higher level of concentration, and so you got to make sure that you do everything right, and you don't want to make any silly errors throughout the thing. So it's really, really interesting. Like when you pick the jury on a death penalty case, you bring one juror at a time. They fill out a questionnaire, and you bring them one at a time. And the lawyers ask them questions about their questionnaire, and the judge asks them, and you try to get to that number, to whatever. It's usually about 40 or 50. That's the number you want to get to, and then they can do their regular voir dire where they pick stuff off. So that was my first big murder trial.
Now, in that situation, obviously, the DA's office was that trial in Davidson County?
No, it was here. We picked the jury out of Chattanooga.
Okay, and then sequestered them here.
Yeah. I drove down here.
Now, were you, as the judge in that case, are you privy to all of the discovery they have before they ever put it in?
I'm not.
Oh, so
not.
So you're up there like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that happened. That's exactly right. I'm privy to stuff where they found motions to exclude stuff.
Okay.
So I get that. But if there's stuff in there that they don't file motions about, I don't know anything about it. I had one case, it was the Reynolds case.
But you wouldn't know, like, if they have done some forensic stuff, you would not know what that was until they put it into court.
I know that they have experts because they have to disclose who the expert is.
Right.
And I know that they have to say what that person's expertise is. Do I know exactly what that expert's going to say? No, unless the other side has filed a motion to exclude some evidence that expert relied on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they do that, then yes, I do know some of that.
Okay.
Some of that. Like, for example, in the Laura Salmon case,
right.
The big question there was DNA. And when she first got killed, there was no DNA. They could do blood tests, but they couldn't really zoom in. And then 15, 20 years later, DNA had developed, and so they had an expert that could match up the killer, Gilly, who got convicted, left a pair of jeans on the body. And that happens a lot of times when you kill somebody you cover their face. So he left his jeans covering her face. But they couldn't prove it was his jeans until 20 years later when they had his DNA on the jeans, her blood splatter on the jeans, and they were the same length. His legs were the same length as the jeans.
And so 20 years later, I mean, and the thing about that is it's amazing that whatever, that somebody didn't somewhere along the way throw them in the washer, and all of a sudden all of that's gone.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, what they do here, and the police department, because they had before the sheriff's department folks, they do a fantastic job maintaining evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable, because they know that there may be technology that's developed later on, and people will come back, especially on cold cases, come back and re-examine it and do that.
Yeah, so between that and then the situation of the O'Charley's murder.
Terrible murder.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember how that played out.
Yeah, what happened was the guy came in to rob O'Charley's. The manager and two other people saw him come in, saw he had a gun. They went into their office, which was tiny, smaller than this radio.
It was a cubicle kind of deal.
But it had one of those half doors. You remember those doors, half of them?
Yeah, we have one in our office out there.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Ed.
That's right. So Mr. Ed could look through. Well, what happened was the guy could stick his gun, the barrel, through that middle of the door, and he told them to open it, and they said no. And he goes, if you don't open it, I'm going to shoot. And they wouldn't open it, so he shot. Show you how random, and hit the guy in the leg and hit an artery, and he bled to death right there. And
so it wasn't like he got hit in the chest or the head or nothing.
It's not just
he got hit in his femoral artery or something like that.
And the interesting thing about that too was they went across. He goes out to his car. It won't start. His van won't start. It's parked behind us. So then he climbs over the fence where that fraternity house used to be.
That was the Cap Sig house where he went over by the barn and
then next
to the Cap
to
Sig house and out on Maple Street.
And next to Maple Street is that, I think it used to be a fraternity house too. That 2-story thing. Now it's a bank, and it was abandoned. He goes
okay, that was the SAE house.
That's right.
Yeah.
He goes up to the top, hides in there.
That's where they found him?
No, they never found him. He goes up to the top. The police go over there and search. They can't find him in there. I'm sure I've thought about that a lot when I drive by there. What it was like for him hiding up in the attic and hearing the police around there with flashlights and all that.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, he calls his girlfriend. That's why his wife turned against him. Calls his girlfriend. She worked at Wendy's. She comes over and picks him up and takes him back home. He had called his wife. He said, when the police call and say, why is our car there? Say, you went to dinner there and it broke down. And then she found out about the girlfriend thing. She said, I'm not doing any of this. And then they found
the love triangle part actually is what broke the case on the murder. That's amazing.
And then they went upstairs at that fraternity house. He worked at International Paper. They had those earplugs, those plastic earplugs you stick in. They found some earplugs, and the DNA on the earplugs matched him. And so that put him in that house.
Goodness gracious!
Isn't that cool?
I mean, that is cool of how putting all the pieces together on that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, did you ever, as a lawyer, defend anyone up for murder?
I did. I had 2 or 3. Let's see. One of them was, if you remember, maybe you weren't here, with Jones Meat Locker when the Jones guy got killed and they buried him back there in the back.
Yes.
Were you here for that?
Wasn't it Russell? Was his name Russell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got appointed. I didn't hire. I got appointed to represent the guy who shot Russell Jones.
Okay.
And Russell Jones had hired this guy to kill his wife. Yeah, to kill his ex-wife. And so they got into a dispute about money and stuff because he backed out. So my guy that I did that. So I had that case. I had a case over in Smithville where a guy allegedly murdered somebody and then burned down the trailer with a body in it. I did that murder trial. And then I had one in Coleman, Alabama. So, yeah, pretty interesting career.
Now, when you and I know every lawyer gets asked this question, is it ever turn your stomach when you know somebody did it and you still have to defend them?
Well, I don't know they did it unless they tell me they did it. If they told me they did it, I can't put them on the stand and let them lie. That would be an ethical violation. So if
Correct.
I did that, I'd have to withdraw. So my job as a defense lawyer back then was to make the government prove the case. It's not my job to decide guilt or innocent, to make the government prove the case.
So you just let them do their thing and then not and said, the defense rests.
Well, no, I would do my best to make sure that the government touched all the bases, like playing baseball.
Right.
Make sure the government touches first, second, third, and home. But if they don't touch it, then that person's not guilty. It doesn't mean they didn't do it. It means the state failed to meet its burden.
Yeah.
And so if you don't protect the worst people's rights, you don't protect the best people's rights. So
that may be the best takeaway we have from this whole show right there. I mean, really, it's true. But anyway, we need to take a break, and we'll be back with the final segment. Judge Don Ash is our guest, and back after this here on WGNS.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris, I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate them. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
At Maples Realty and Auction, we handle traditional sales, auctions, and property management. And we have a development called The Maples with local builders and amenities. I'm Betsy Maples, and this is our team. It's our people. That's the difference. Call us today and let us help you get your property sold.
I refer a lot of clients to Maples Realty when we have real estate issues that are coming up. Working with Maples has been easy for me, easy for my clients.
Put our 57 years of success to work for you. Sold!
I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
I've been helping people from Murfreesboro for over 30 years and spent a lot of time there over the years.
We love Murfreesboro. We have lots of friends down there. We've partnered with Middle Tennessee State.
And we found more and more people asking for our services, and at some point it just made sense to open up an office there for the convenience of the citizens of the community and the surrounding areas.
We wanted to actually physically be present there and not just going there a lot.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable, and hope you're enjoying this hour as much as I am, letting Don Ash tell some judicial stories. And I'm just wondering now, when's the book going to come out?
Well,
has Rita let you start working on a book yet?
You know, that's funny you say that. I do have this thing, a copy of all the cases that have gone up on appeal that were murder cases, and I was going to write something about that. But I did do something. There's something called Storyworth, where you get a message every week, a question, and you type out the answer, and at the end of 52 weeks, they publish it into a book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I did that. I kind of did my own questions. Then I found out you could put pictures in it. And so, yeah, that's called, it's not for publication. It's for my grandchildren and my children. But it's called The Ashtray, A Story of a Life Well Lived.
The Ashtray. Oh, but people now say, what's an ashtray?
That's right. They may not know anymore.
They may not. You know, it's funny. I saw something on, speaking of that on Facebook or something, it said, can you believe that, 40 years ago in shop class, we made ashtrays for our parents in shop class in high school.
Well, they used to have ashtrays in cars, and they used to have ashtrays in airplanes. They don't have those anymore.
And of course, cigarette lighters too.
Yeah.
Okay, you've done as a judge. You've authored more than 60 appellate opinions.
Right.
And so, what makes a judicial opinion good in your mind?
Yeah. Well, the good that appellate stuff is because, like, I'm a trial judge, so I do trials. But occasionally, appellate judges who review my work, they'll have a conflict, so they'll ask me to go sit on a panel. It's a 3-person panel, and so I'll go sit with them. I'm supposed to go sit with them next month. But what makes a good opinion is something where a young lawyer, two things: a young lawyer could look at it and it would help him in that type of case, and number two, when a layperson can look at it and read it and it makes sense. So if you can do those two things, you've written a good legal opinion, as long as you've done your proper research and follow the law. For writing style, I try to write, really for about a 8th or 9th grader to read, and then I want to also have it in there where if a lawyer has that type of case, they go, okay, I got to touch these bases when I have this type of case.
I understand.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that in those type of things, they've got to be fun as well, but just in a different way, because everybody thinks about when you're the presiding judge over a murder trial, then that's where it's at. That's where the action is.
Right. Well, the appellate work is really interesting because you get to work with 2 other judges, and y'all will go back into you'll listen to oral argument. You'll go back into a room. You'll talk about it. You'll read the briefs that they filed before, and then whoever's writing the opinion, you get the entire record. You get all the exhibits, all the testimony, all that, and then you go back and work on that opinion. When you finish it, you send it to the other 2 judges to see if they agree with it or what changes they'd make, and then that's how it comes out. Kind of like making sausage.
Sometimes you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But do you feel there's less pressure or more pressure in an appellate opinion than doing the original verdict?
Less.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather all our appellate judges be trial judges, so they know. Because one trial judge friend of mine said, "This is kind of like a gunfight.
Yeah.
You're just kind of shooting bullets. People are shooting at you all the time." A lot of time, appellate judges can step back and look at a cold record, and not get the feel of what was actually going on in the trial.
Yeah. Now, being a senior judge, and when you were with the Court of the Judiciary, what does that mean?
Yeah, the Court of Judiciary, tough job. What we did was when people would complain about ethical issues for judges across the state that didn't meet their ethical standards, then we would be in charge of investigating them. And then we had a panel that would decide whether or not there should be charges brought against them. And then if there are charges brought against a judge, and I did this, then I would be the judge that would preside at the trial and then the other members of the court who are lawyers and lay people and judges, they'd be the jury. And so we'd have to determine whether or not that judge had violated an ethical rule or not.
Yep.
So pretty tough, but it's important to maintain very high ethical standards when you're having impact on people's lives.
Well, that has to be a great compliment to you to be asked to be in that position to look over the ethical,
I've been
problem of other judges.
I'm like you, Chip. I know you feel this way. If there's a more blessed person in this world walking around than me, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
If I check out tomorrow, go have a good time at the funeral, because I've had a great time.
Now, you've also done a lot of teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that seems to be that would seem to be a natural progression, and folks who are watching on Big G TV can see this. But as soon as I mentioned teaching, you started smiling.
Yeah.
So what is it that you like about that? Is it the young minds wanting to learn and the way that they keep you sharp?
My mom was a teacher.
Well,
I think and my brother Dirk was a teacher before he became principal. And then my cousin John Ash, who's principal at Central, he was a teacher before that. So it's kind of our vein, our blood. But I've had the opportunity to teach at the National Judicial College, and you think about it, I've done that for like 23 years. To think about being able to go to teach young judges who've never done this before about how to properly handle something, or teach them a philosophy of judging. What a great opportunity to share your legacy with that. And then what's happened with me on that is now I think I've been to, people will go to the Judicial College and hear me teach, and they'll go back to their state educator and say, you need to get Judge Ash here. So I think I've been like to 15 states to teach judicial conferences and stuff like that. So it's really great fun. I love doing that. I taught civil procedure at Nashville Law School for 9 years. Those were first-year students, entirely different situation, because they're trying to learn the terms and think about law. But teaching judges has been just a fantastic thing for my career.
A couple of things that you were a big part in. You were instrumental in creating Tennessee's parenting plan legislation. So what was the problem you were trying to solve, and how has the system evolved since then?
Well, that goes back to the Judicial College, because I go out there and take the course out there. Well, they had a deal where you get your master's degree in judicial studies. You take part of your classes at the University of Nevada at Reno, and you take part of the Judicial College. Well, part of that was to write a thesis. And I thought, because I'd handled divorce cases, I had seen as a judge divorce cases. In Tennessee, what used to be was, if you were a non-custodial parent, your parenting time was limited to reasonable and liberal visitation. It didn't have any time period. So you could get jerked around pretty good on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so other states had parenting plans. And so I checked on it. One I liked the best was the state of Washington. So my thesis was why we need to change the law in Tennessee to have parenting plans and mediation and counseling for families and stuff like that. So I write this thesis. To make my thesis longer, I guess to make me look smarter, I rewrote the Tennessee Code on divorce law and made it applicable to that, to put those things in it.
Okay. Now, when you rewrote the Tennessee Code, were you able to do that as a judge, or did you supply that back to the legislature?
Well, I didn't mean to supply it. I wrote it as a judge to be my thesis, but then I'm up there testifying about some other thing. One of the legislators asked me, he says, I've heard you've written something. I said, yeah, I wrote this thing and blah, 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 and proposed legislation. He goes, do you have a copy of your proposed legislation? I go, yeah, but nobody's checked it. I don't have approval from the other state judiciary.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, can I see it? So I give it to him. Next day, the Tennessean calls me and said, would you like to make a comment about House Bill 1559? I said, I don't know what that is. They said, well, it's the Tennessee Parenting Plan. They said, you wrote it. So he just took what I did and filed it. And then after a lot of making of sausage in the legislature, that became the law in our state in 1996.
That's a pretty good legacy to have.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah.
I ran for the legislature in 1992, got beat by a guy named Mike Lyles, good guy, close race. But the people in Rutherford County didn't want me to be a legislator, obviously, since they didn't elect me to that. And then I get to do a bill that's been in effect now for 20 years. That's impacted every divorce.
96 is almost 30 years.
30 years.
How about that?
That's right. That's impacted everybody in the state that has gotten a divorce that has a child. Is that not crazy?
It's pretty awesome, though, isn't it?
Crazy. Like I said, blessed man.
Yep. Okay. The other one is you had Tennessee's first non-residential drug court. That was kind of a bold move at the time. So, kind of give a quick idea about how that happened and why.
A lady named Mary Snyder came to me one day and said, "Here, you're pretty. You like new things, and they have these drug courts up in Kentucky. We're going to go up there and take a look at it. You want to go?" It was about 2 years before my next election, so I thought I need to go, so she'll vote for me. So I go, and lo and behold, we start a drug court. We get a federal grant. Today, the drug court now has, and I did for 14 years, but today the drug court, now they call it recovery court for drug abuse. They have a DUI court. They have a mental health court. They have they
have the Veterans Court.
A Veterans Court.
Yeah.
All four of those, and they're located over there. You remember where Tommy John's office was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The county bought that for the drug court folks.
Right there across from Evergreen Cemetery.
That's it. So that's where drug court meets, but it has changed families. I used to think drugs meant that you were weak. That's completely wrong. Drug addiction's a disease, and we need to treat it as a disease. And so when people have cancer and their cancer comes back, we go, you didn't really work hard enough in your recovery. We don't tell that to people.
Yeah.
But on drug addiction, and it's such a major thing, and if we can save some lives, then that impacts their children, their moms, their dads, our community. They become taxpayers.
Oh, it's amazing when someone has an issue like that, just how many other people within their sphere of influence they suck into all of that. It's unbelievable.
Everybody I know has had some experience with some family member or friend with drug addiction. Everybody.
Yeah.
Alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, everything. And so if we can do anything to teach people how to handle addiction, but I'm very proud of the drug court thing.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're still working and doing things but when you mentioned go have a party at your funeral, but when it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember you as when it comes to your judicial career?
I'd rather them remember me as a good dad and a good husband and somebody that loved our community. I'm so thankful I came to Murfreesboro from Lebanon back in 1980. It's let me be home. This is home for me now because they let me become part of the community.
Yeah, you've been very active in Boys and Girls Club here in town. Your faith that's very important to you.
Yeah.
You every time the doors open at Murphy Center, you're over there.
I am.
And
love MTSU.
Well, and it's always fun to see. Okay, kind of a couple of fun questions here as we wrap up. Brian will be coming back in a minute.
Good.
Watching. You're obviously you're probably a big movie buff like I am. What is the best trial scene in a movie that you've ever seen that was most real?
That's a good question.
Or maybe not one that's most real, and then one that you enjoyed the most.
The one I enjoyed the most it's called Justice for All. I think that's it, with Al Pacino in it, and he's represents somebody. The judge is a crook, and that's really good. There's another one called Mississippi Burning.
Oh man,
which is a great.
That's an unbelievable
great
movie.
My favorite movie is
Time to Kill. Is that courtroom scene is really good.
But part of the reason I became a lawyer is To Kill a Mockingbird, because I looked at that movie and Gregory Peck, and I thought about his relationship with his children, his relationship with his community, and how he stood for something, tried someone where the entire community thinks the guy's guilty. He eventually got lynched and murdered. The guy did, but he still stands up for what he believes in. And really, Chip, that's what we're really supposed to do. We're supposed to believe in something and stand up for it, even when it's tough to stand up for it. So yeah, I like those. What's your next question?
Speaking of Gregory Peck, wasn't he in the original Cape Fear?
Yes.
And then came back and played the judge in the remake?
He did. I was talking to somebody about that movie the other day. I couldn't remember the name of it. It was Cape Fear.
That was
Scary
one of the most
to death.
Oh man, the Robert De Niro's part in that one. Okay, here's an old standard question. If you could pick 3 people from history to have dinner with, who would you pick?
Abraham Lincoln, probably Thomas Jefferson, and then let's see. Then I'd probably go further back than that. I'd like to talk to some famous religious leader. I don't know whether it be a pope or whether it be who was the guy that nailed the stuff up on the wall in Martin Luther. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Martin Luther. I think that'd be pretty cool too. So yeah, I like the constitutional stuff. I like history, and then I like the basis for religious thought about where that came from.
Yeah, well, that would be a really interesting. I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall there either. Don, thanks so much for coming by today, and I hope we'll have to do this again because we're just kind of getting loose, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I had a great time, and go Blue.
That's right. All right, we're out of here for today. Brian Barrett coming up next. Go get your bread and milk, folks, and we'll talk to you here on the Big G, WGNS.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.